Ryan here with you. We are now looking at this 1832 Atlas of the World by Carey Lea in Philadelphia. It is complete. Here is a list of the maps that are found within it. It starts with this comparison of principal mountain heights around the world, and this one of the chief rivers of the world, arranged by length with principal towns shown on them. The hand coloring throughout this atlas is all original. There are these two very interesting comparative lake diagrams, followed by this charming little map of the world on a Mercator's projection, followed by these two double hemisphere world maps, like so. That's a polar projection there of north and south, and followed by Europe. I'll try to show the majority of the maps within, and I'll start to flip through it a little bit, just a little bit quicker, so I don't linger on each one. You can always pause the video if you'd like, but this is more to give you an overview of the book itself as an object and the contents within it, the state of preservation that they're in. You'll notice that essentially every map is very clean and fresh in appearance. It's a beautiful example of the inside of an atlas of this date. Many times atlases of this era will display all sorts of age flaws, from browsing and thumbprints and edge tears and staining and so on. But this one has survived in a really nice state of preservation. The binding is also original to the era. It's not been rebound, which often happens when books are read and handled to the point where the binding just can't withstand it. There's a crack right here in the text block, but the book is still well sewn as issued. This particular map, the tissue guard, is torn, but that's of no consequence, really. The fact is that virtually all the other tissue guards are intact, in place, and so that's just a minor detail. And here we go. Yeah, this is just a very pleasing assortment of really well engraved. All of the maps actually have an engraver's name on them, which is often a sign of higher level quality work. Yeah. There's a nice map of the Arabian Peninsula and Persia, and there we have so-called Hindustan. Here is Burman Empire, Annam, Siam, and Cochin China, as they're called at this time politically. And here we have a nice, interesting map of the Chinese Empire and Japan. Yep. Followed by the East India Islands. And yeah, they have all of these detailed indexes as well that face the maps. The South Sea Islands here, with the inset of the Sandwich Islands, of course, which is Hawaii. Okay, there's a nice map of Australia with unexplored, regions unexplored, right in the center. And here we have Africa, showing the ever-present apocryphal source of the Nile, mountains of the moon. What's fascinating when you start to pay attention to this fictitious mountain range is how it moves all over the interior. A person could assemble a huge collection of maps of the continent of Africa, all of which have that mountain range in a different place. And once they're side by side, you begin to really realize how interesting it is as a geographical feature to be moving around with such regularity. This is interesting too here, because you'll notice here that British Columbia comes down into Oregon and Washington here, and Lower California here is still, of course, part of Mexico, although you'll notice here when you get close in to Texas, Look at the division here going on with Louisiana. Interesting little map. Okay. And here we have British possessions. There's different engravers within. This one is Jaeger. I think Duckworth is another one I've seen. And here we have, of course, Canada, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. We're in fact not far from here. We are in fact talking to you right now from somewhere right about down in this area, right there, right near the seacoast area. Here we are, there we are, over here right in New Hampshire, right south of Portland. And look at that, there we go. Now, of course, Western Territory here extends up into, this is prior to the boundary of the Oregon and the Great Britain treaty boundary line here. Memory serves me, I think it's the 42nd parallel. I'd have to spot check that. That's just from memory. And let's just see here. Yes, this is interesting. Yes, this gets interesting here. This whole Midwestern region. Yeah, nice little map. Yeah, that's nice. And let us continue. Okay, here's the southern region with, look at this outline shape here of Texas with Missouri above it, like so. And here is Missouri here as well. Yeah, interesting. Okay. And here is the southern portion of the United States, with Texas now completely encompassed still, of course, at this date, by Mexico, as well as New Mexico here. They're not really part of the United States prior to the 1848 battles. And here is the West Indies, or the Caribbean, and South America. And there are some regional maps that are going to finish us up and close out the atlas. We have La Plata, Chile, and yeah, like so. And here's Brazil. And there we go. You've seen it all. This is how the binding looks. It is, it says right here at the spine in gilt, 100 maps and tables. This is a family cabinet atlas. It's in the original publisher's quarter leather binding with plain, smooth cloth covers over boards. And if this atlas interests you, it is available now online from me, Brian DiMambro.